haters. Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome to another property live stream. Yes, this is the fourth. Goodness, has it been that many? Yes, Tuesday, we start off, of course, with Property Matters. Wednesday, we have Ipsy Kind of Magic. Thursday, we have Property Quorum. And today is possibly the most viewed of ours, which is called Cladding Matters. We talk about all things, not just about cladding, but about building safety, the ramifications thereof. And today is no different. Today's topic is, ladies and gentlemen, 9 years of change, delay and debate. I'm sure most of you will immediately understand what we're referring to, but to start us off, as ever, Hamish McClay.
Oh, well, welcome to all at the tail end of the week, but nowhere near the end of this particular tale that we find our position in at this particular moment. And as Gareth just mentioned there with the title, 9 years of change. There's so much has happened within the property industry, and it's so much more awareness, but obviously not enough awareness at this particular moment in time. What's particularly important, we're just a month or so away before there is going to be a big list comes out nominating those that the investigators consider to be responsible for contributing to what happened in Grenfell. And right at the top of the list, which is very, very important for this particular day, and that's a great advantage of having Sue with us alongside Steve, is they're starting to name members of the members of the council who are actually responsible because they ignored what the residents were saying about the dangers of that particular property. Now, not only do we have with Greenwich Council ignoring what the residents are saying, they're denying the truth of what the experts are saying, that the residents have actually had to fund themselves to actually sort of speak about. So really, at this particular moment in time, those members of the council need to look at this very, very closely. Two things. First of all, they're damning themselves because they're all singing from the same hymn sheet. They're all saying, no evidence, no evidence, no evidence. And because the leader says it, and all 20 odd sort of members of the Labour Party are sort of in agreement with it, they are all collectively responsible for that particular decision. And although a couple of those even have mentioned privately that they actually don't agree with the decision, but to say that there is no evidence, and as a result of their saying there's no evidence, the remediation being carried out of Royal Artillery Quays is not going to include matters which were unsafe at the time of the build. Never mind all the other aspects, plus the fact, as we well know, the complete failures of the PAS 9980, which is a standard maintained by the big builders, the master builders, as being adequate, whereas we know it's totally inadequate. So the council are responsible for the payments so far that each of the members had to pay in Royal Artillery Quays above and beyond what one would normally expect to be living in a safe property.
Wow. A good starting point there, Hamish McClay. Before anybody gets going, please can I remind our audience this is not a political show. So we're not going to be drawn on whether we go for one shade of political spectrum or another. But what we are talking about is the human costs. Steve Day, it appears to me, as a person who has tirelessly worked to represent the Royal Artillery Quays, a bunch of domiciles affected by the fact that they were not up to par, up to standard at the point of building, even though it has been denied, even though we have black and white evidence illustrating that even that the council knew they were substandard at the point of being built, even with all this going on, up to the point where they said there's nothing to answer, nothing to see here. And then they said they were, what's the word they used? They were independent, or they didn't. Oh, neutral. My goodness. That's the word, because neutral is still a noise. There's a good track about neutral. That. Yes. Steve, bring us up to date. Where are we now?
Well, we are in a position now where we can say some good news. Can you imagine it? Good news. We've managed to get our fire doors that we've campaigned.
I'm having a bit of a hard time coping with that. You've got good news.
Yeah, so we've managed to get the fire doors on each with the London Fire Brigade. And that's absolutely brilliant because that is one of the big risks on the fire shafts. And those are illegal at the time of construction, which is a massive, great step forward. It doesn't mean we're out of the woods yet, but it does mean that, we're now waiting, as we said last week, that we're waiting for the fire report to come out, which is due in the next week or so. And we'll be able to then make our case to get the XPS panels, these highly combustible panels, off the fire shaft. So it's a real community effort. We raised £4,300 in less than 24 hours to do that. But the question is, the 9th anniversary of Grenfell is this Sunday, 14th of June. And the question we have to ask ourselves is, why is a local authority denying all our evidence exists and trying to silence the Grenfell KC on the eve of the local elections? And why does it take residents to have to campaign to get the fire brigade to issue notices for illegal and dangerous construction? And those questions remain unanswered. And, we're here at Royal Artillery Quays trying to stand up for safe buildings in the light of the Grenfell fire 9 years on. And we're featuring the same denials, the same indifference, and also attack on various individuals, public attack as well. So, but anyway, Sue, my neighbour here, has been an amazing campaigner with me and holding the council to account. I wonder, Sue, what your view is on all of this.
Please.
It's so puzzling. I keep trying to find a reason why they should be behaving like this. I mean, usually one finds that people, when they act in a way that you don't like, they think they're doing the right thing. I mean, that is normal. You might not agree with them, but they think they're doing the right thing. I just don't see with this council how they can think they're doing the right thing. They've got the evidence. So why are they doing it? Why are they persisting? And they're persisting to this day, saying there is no evidence. Why are they wanting to help Barrett? Has Barrett given money to the Labour Party? I don't know whether they have. Do they feel that Barrett wouldn't be so active in building new houses if they had to put the old ones right? And if they think that, that's incredibly wrong and misguided of them, because to build safely, they never will. Even if you want new houses, and I can see that this government really does want to have new houses, they want to have new safe houses, new safe dwellings for people.
Yeah.
And if builders feel, oh, well, we'll just cut a few corners here because it's cheaper and it's quicker, they always will. So if that is their motivation, it's mistaken. But it is a constant puzzle, and they all are holding this position. And I can't believe that they're happy with it. I can't believe, I'm sure that there must be councillors out there that are deeply disturbed about this. But
we know some. We do know some, actually, Sue.
We do know some, yeah.
Yeah, so one
Steve,
of the Labour councillors...
Maybe we should invite some of those other councils or members of them to come on board to say, if they were in this position and presented with this level of evidence, what they would do. I know it's a hypothetical, but maybe it will light a fire under certain people's rear ends. I must apologise to anyone watching. Steve and Sue's connection has been a bit up and down, yo-yo-ish. But I think it's
Oh,
worth
sorry.
waiting. No, don't be sorry. You can't. It just is what it is. But I just want to say to people, please stick with it. What's coming out here is pure gold. And what I would say is thank you, Sue. Thank you, Steve, for your tireless work here. Even with, and dare I say it, various members of the council trying to create diversionary tactics by leveling claims of I don't really want to say the words, but terrible acts potentially done by Steve, although he did none of these things. It's utter Tommy rot. But they're just diversion tactics. Is look over here, don't look over here, and that's all it is. What I want to ask you, Sue, what effect has all this hiatus, this lollygagging around, all this hanging about, arguing how many angels are dancing on the end of a pin, rather than actually agreeing to what is right in front of them and moving forward? What has this done for your health?
Well, obviously, it's incredibly frustrating because campaigning is time consuming. To be honest, it hasn't affected me as much as I know it's affected Steve. I mean, poor Steve has got a full-time job. I'm retired, so I can spend time more easily. I don't really know how Steve manages it. And Steve's got family issues as well, with his father being ill. I mean, it is terrible for him. And we're all extremely grateful that he has spent this time campaigning, because I honestly think that many, many people would have given up. But it does take time. We write letters. We constantly ask, we talk to each other. What do they think they're doing? Why are they doing it?
Well, I've got some ideas for you. It could be one that Barrett have something unpleasant or evil that they were party to, that they promised to keep it quiet as long as they toe the party line. Two, it could be that they believe that by doing this, eventually their own longevity and the roles that they so desire will be increased. Three, that there could be some sort of potential jobs being offered them within Barrett or similar, as long as they, once this, they've almost assumed that all this, their own tenure at the council will fail eventually, but they want to have a nice cash landing or soft landing, at least at the other end. It could be any one of those sort of things. And this is not me casting aspersions. I'm just playing around with ideas and not creating, not alleging anything. But it could be any of that.
Well, I think, Gareth, what would be very good is, you mentioned it, it would be great to have the local councillors actually come on Cladding Matters, and the two councillors, Councillor Spencer and it's Councillor Nathan as well. I've forgotten his surname, but those two councillors, they are local representatives. They're our voice with the council, meant to stand up for us. And unfortunately, Councillor Spencer was one of those councillors that alleged that I was contributing to inciting violence towards Rachel Taggart-Ryan, which is the councillor that denied all our evidence just by simply asking for her to retract a false position for over a year. Apparently, that's inciting violence, and which it isn't. And it would be good to invite both of them on to give their view. I mean, we're a fair show. If they really felt that I was inciting, let them say why, and let them say why they believe all our evidence doesn't exist. So, and if it's not those two, it would be great to get somebody on the show to, and the council should care. We're challenging them every day on social media, saying, that they're silencing or attempting to silence a Grenfell KC, they're denying all our evidence exists, and they're getting a bad reputation. Why don't they come and defend themselves?
I mean,
whether they'll come, I doubt.
Please.
Because I wrote to Councillor Spencer and asked her to come and meet us and just see how it was affecting residents. As for herself, we're now going to get the fire doors, but there were no fire doors there. I didn't even get a reply. I even offered her coffee and biscuits, but that wasn't an inducement.
No, she should have a very nice coffee here.
Maybe, and of course I'm not. Maybe she prefers something stronger.
Well, yes, she will need something stronger because she's maintaining a lie effectively, and you know, this is the thing. In the face of the Grenfell anniversary on Sunday, why are the entire council, minus the 19 other councillors that are from other parties, but why is the majority of Greenwich Council silent on the 9th anniversary of Grenfell, when all of this is well known, that they're basically suppressing all our evidence and attempting to silence the Casey? Why is that something to be silent about? Why do they not reach out and end this? And why doesn't the chief executive reach out? And why doesn't anyone, you know, even like the MP, we got Abena involved. Why doesn't she? And she summarized, or her team summarized the issue perfectly, that it was just an untrue position we wanted corrected. And she understood that. She's been silent for a year. And for me, it's the silence and the attack without dealing with the issue. And this is not just building safety. This is modern politics. Gaslight and ignore the issue, and then if they're persistent, go for them, take them down, and if you can find some dirt on them, lock them up. You know, this is where we've got to, and this is why I think as a country, take note that we're being treated like this, because one day they'll do the same to you.
Yeah, but let me focus the mind for a second. Early on in our initial discourses, Steve, you had figure work on how many other properties are in the same bracket but haven't yet been brought to the surface, and we were talking tens of thousands, right?
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, 10,000 above 18 meters, but there's a lot more below 18 meters.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
and effectively, for the smaller the buildings below 11 meters, there isn't any protection from the non-cladding defects, all the internal defects that, you know, we should be protected for Iraq because we're above 80 meters. They have no protection at all. And of course, the late Amanda Walker, one of my friends, who took her own life because of £1 million worth of internal defects, which was confirmed by her mother, actually, that she was right. It was that much. You know, she's paid the price. How many others, you know, and the horrors of building safety, the remembrance of Grenfell and all the other fires, Lakanal House, Richmond House, that have happened. How many others are secretly living with mental health issues and potentially thinking, I can't pay? And our service charges at RAC are $6,000 a year. They're going up. We thought they were just to cover the fire, the defects or the waking watch, but they kept going. You know, there is just basically inertia. They just realize they can get the money, and it all goes together to basically saying, well, we're not going to fix your homes properly. You're going to endure 2 years of remediation. The panels are still staying on the fire shaft currently. Hopefully we'll win that battle. And the internal defects, we don't know where we are with that yet. And I've been chasing Rendell and Rittner, the managing agent, to find out what they're doing about that and the scope of their investigation. They've been silent.
and Steve,
It isn't even.
Sorry, Sue, you were saying, please.
It isn't even as if the panels that we want off the fire escape are particularly expensive to take off the fire escape. I mean, it is such penny pinching.
Yeah.
Even now, we've got the scaffolding up, and they won't take the things off. It's just awful. I mean, one looks at them and thinks those things could go up in flames.
But they are a similar consistency to firelighters. So, you know, maybe people should be barbecuing underneath them. Who knows? I was going to say, Steve, when you and I are dissatisfied that the world is not taking notice of things, we tend to get together and write music, do we not? I think I believe
Absolutely.
I believe little Stevie needs to put out a certain track fairly soon.
Well, yes. Well, as we approach the remediation bill, so back to kind of the national campaign, and in the light of Grenfell, it is needed. So the legislation we've been working on with the Earl of Lytton and now Gideon Amos, housing spokesman of the Lib Dems, we'll be trying to stop the PAS 9980 watered down remediation standard becoming law, especially the new draft. And we'll be exposing one of the architects of the standard, Mr. Colin Todd, MBE. And of course, he is infamous now from his Christmas Day poem, where he published it on Christmas Day.
It lend itself to music. We've taken his exact words and
accusing me of being a crazy activist, and ended the poem that I should take less heed of dicks. So that's the quality of the caliber, and yes, I think there is a musical version that we will be playing soon, to a video, which the viewers will find interesting, because it's not only his views about me as a campaigner, it's his views on the standard, because he says in the poem, and it's etched in my memory, that bloody PAS poor Stevie cries.
Yes.
And it too will make Stevie weep, Stevie being me.
Yeah,
so he's basically, in a jestful way, in a mocking way, saying he's got every hope that this new PAS will pass, and it will be even worse for desperate people in dangerous buildings. So he is accepting that the new standard, in a sense, is worse than the old. But yes, the musical rendition is coming soon, and thanks to your help, Mr. Wax.
It's what little I can do. I'm going to, just before I pass back to Hamish to finish off, there's a quote I'm going to throw at people. I do like my quotes. I'm going to misquote it, because I usually do that too. The only thing that requires for evil to flourish is for good men to do nothing. And literally, I would say this is what Hamish, what myself, and of course Steve and Sue fly under. This is our motto. We will not stand by and do nothing. We will rattle sabers, we'll wave placards, and we'll stick these damn things right up people's noses until they take notice, because this cannot continue. And Sue, I'm sure you'll agree, this is but the tip of the iceberg. I know RAC is your home, and therefore it's of personal, but there are loads of other similar domiciles in exactly the same position.
And I think this is one of the reasons, though, that they are not wanting to see RAC remedied.
Yeah.
Because they know that other people would follow and want the same. But they need the same. They actually need the same. And if they don't get the same, if we don't get these buildings remedied, we'll never have a safe building again.
Yes.
All right. On that note, Hamish, would you please take us home?
Yes, I would like to emphasise the fact that it's unfortunate that the Greenwich Council have attracted themselves to what we are trying to do within this campaign work, because they themselves have actually stuck themselves up. Now, a lot of other councils are being very, very quiet about the thing, and possibly they don't even understand, because what specialists, I would ask the question, and maybe we can get a response from the council to say, what holds them as experts on this particular sort of aspect to do with safety within buildings? They've got I'm sure they've got a health and safety officer of one particular kind or another. Let us look and sort of see who comes out on that list in September. We're not waiting till then. We're not going to go quiet. We've got the remediation bill to go through. We've got to get that going through appropriately. Because if we stick with this current standards that these builders are going to be getting away with, everybody in the country will suffer. Their buildings will continue to be unsafe. People will continue to be having to pay these enhanced sort of cover of insurance and various other management fees to actually accommodate it. So really, we have got to keep on. Greenwich, you are, as we said, you're the tip of the iceberg, but by golly, you're not sticking your heads above the parapet on stupidity.
I just don't get it. It's comprehensively demonstrated. not just how wrong you are, but how dangerous your position is, and yet you persist. It's the emperor has no clothes. The poor sod is freezing. Put some clothes on him. God's sakes. All right. Thank you very much, Steve Day and Sue. Thank you for making time. Hamish McClay, of course, our Lord and Master, first set display. Thank you so much for your attendance. And to all of you watching, I see a lot of you flooding in and out during the course of this. Please take this to your hearts. If it's been comprehensively shown to be a false position, why would Greenwich Council be hanging on to it for grim death? I leave you with that question. And also, please keep your feet on the ground. Keep reaching for the stars. And in these rather troubling times, look after your mental health. Until next week, have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.